Roll call of members, please.
Commissioner Sparza?
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez? Commissioner Moody? Vice Chair Timmons? Chair Weisenberger?
Here. Agenda item number 1, approval of minutes from the March 3rd, 2025. We have a motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sparza?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez? Commissioner Moody? Vice Chair Timmons? Chair Weisenberger?
Yes. Okay, any public comments tonight? Mr. King?
Yes, we do, and that is for for item number 4, so we could discuss that at that time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. All right. Then let's go to agenda item number 2, conditional use permit number 978. This is a request by WinCan, Expert Computer International Incorporated, to operate a warehouse and distribution facility of computer parts at 7110 Jackson Street in the M2 zone. This project is a Class 1 categorical exemption pursuant to Article 19, Section 15301 of the CEQA guidelines. We have a staff report?
Yes, so at this location, there was a kind of a trucking business with a warehouse and distribution. They left about June or July of last year. So, and it's at 7110 Jackson near Gundry in an industrial area. So Associate Planner Ivan Reyes will give the presentation, but he'll review how this is, we think is a better use than what was there before. So go ahead, Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, John. So could you pull up the presentation? Thank you. So thank you, John, Honorable Chair, members of the Commission. The item before you is conditional use permit number 978. So this is a request to operate a warehouse and distribution facility for computer parts. The property address is 7110 Jackson Street. It's located in the M2 heavy manufacturing zone. The site is a little over 2-acre site with a building of 58,695 square feet. However, this particular business will be only using up 31,000 square feet of that building, and that will go into detail as how that would look like in the floor plan. And as John mentioned, just to give you some background, in 2019, the Plan Commission approved a similar CUP for a warehouse and distribution business. The business ceased operations in July of 2024, and since there's been inactive use for more than 180 days, this warrants a new CUP. And also, just to further background on this, the previous business had heavy truckloads of materials being delivered here. In this case, this new business that will be moving in here, they don't have that capacity. Truckloads is limited to smaller trucks, parcels like UPS deliveries, things like that. So essentially, it's an enhanced operation with that limiting the truckloads of deliveries to and from the property with this current business that's going to be moving in here. And just a summary of Expert Computer International. They specialize in online wholesale of computer parts, including managing online listing, packing, and shipping orders. They have a total of 25 employees. No manufacturing or electronic or computer parts will be produced here. They're actually operating already in the city here. They are relocating to a bigger facility, and they're currently located at 6437 Alondra Boulevard. They are Monday through Friday and operating from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Here's a satellite view of the subject building. It's located on the south side of Jackson Street, right on the corner of Gundry Avenue. This is in between Orange Avenue and Garfield Avenue. There's a huge stretch of industrial businesses here. The subject site is located south of Jackson, and the yellow shows the perimeter of the property, of the property footprint, and the building side right there is located in the middle. And just to give you a further glimpse of the warehouse, so the blue area is the 31,000 square feet that this business will be occupying. They will be storing a variety of items as you see listed there. There is a small office component in here. So if this use gets approved, The tenant will be dividing this warehouse into 2 suites. So part of the conditions is to obtain permits with the Building and Safety Division in order to divide this building into 2 suites. The other subject site part of the building it's yet to be determined who or what's going to move in there, but they have the first dibs on this warehouse. Here's some photos of the existing conditions of the site of the warehouse. On the left-hand side, you see the landscaping and the fencing from the street view of this property. And on the right, you see the truck area where the deliveries could occur for this business. I do want to emphasize that there's part of the conditions of approval is to maintain the landscaping area in a clean, neatly manner. There is a black mesh tarp on the fencing, and part of the conditions is to remove that when they start operating. We don't really allow that type of mesh. I'm assuming it's there for right now for inactivity of the business. But yeah, once they start operating, it would have to be removed. And also cleaning up the parking lot with any, cracks or any debris that's on the property, they would have to clean that up as part of the conditions. So the proposed business is located in the appropriate zone. It's compatible with the surrounding businesses in the industrial zone, and it's adequate in size and sufficient parking will be provided. So with that, staff is recommending to read by title only, waive further reading, and adopt resolution number PC 25010, approving conditional use permit number 978, subject to the conditions of approval in the resolution. This concludes my presentation, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ivan.
Mm.
Questions tonight?
Ivan, thank you for the report. Were there any sales out of this building? Strictly wholesale?
No direct sales to customers, it's simply just packaging. Mhm. You're welcome.
Mr. Reyes, I wanted to ask, when you said they're gonna clean up the grounds, are they gonna resurface that parking, given that, all the holes that are in the ground, it looks like there's some deep holes there. Are they gonna-
Yeah, we will work with the applicant to ensure that those cracks and any parking lot maintenance, not only to the parking lot, but just in general on the building as well, will be cleaned up.
That building's been vacant for a while. So
Mhm.
it looks like
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Ivan. I'd like to open the public hearing portion of this item. Have we got any testimony tonight, John?
No, we don't.
Then we need a motion to close the public hearing.
I was supposed to close the public hearing for conditional use permit 978.
It's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez, Commissioner Moody, Vice Chair Timmons, Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay. And need then to consider an option to read by title only and waive further reading and adopt this Planning Commission Resolution 25010, approving this request to operate the warehouse and distribution facility on Jackson Street. Okay, been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody, Vice Chair Timmons, Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay, agenda item number 3, conditional use permit number 979. This is a request by Mariah DeFlores, Unique XQ, to operate a gymnasium at 13832 Paramount Boulevard in the commercial manufacturing zone. This project is a Class 1 categorical exemption pursuant to Article 19, Section 15301 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines. Okay, John, do we have a report for this one?
Yes, we do. There's an existing gym that's operating under an existing conditional use permit they're now on Paramount Boulevard between Alondra and Somerset on the east side. They've outgrown their location. They're ready to move on to bigger and better, so they're proposing to move to this site. It's kind of across from, I know it's Southgate, but across from the Popeyes and Shell Station, near Cal Aero, that property there, that area. And Associate Planner Ivan Reyes, he'll take it over.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
So moving forward here with conditional use permit number 979, this is a request to operate a gymnasium. The property address is 13832 through 13836 Paramount Boulevard. This is the former H1 flooring business that has been there for many years, but they are no longer in operation. And now the request is for this applicant to essentially take over those business suites and make it into one business for the gym. It's located in the CM Commercial Manufacturing Zone. It's a 2.17 acre site with the building itself is 37,604 square feet, and the suite itself for the gym will be 10,419 square feet. Just to give you some background on Unique HQ, they are actually in operation at the moment at 15340 Paramount Boulevard. As John mentioned, they took over an existing gym. It was called The Workout. So they've been operating under that conditional use permit from this address. Now that they're growing their clientele, they're growing the services that they're providing. At the moment, they're not a free use gym. Think what that means is, think of a big box gym like a 24-hour fitness where they have a variety of machines. At this moment, it's a smaller scale. So occupying this new business will be more of an expansion with what they do. In addition to that, they also do personal training services, which has been their main type of business operation. So they currently have 15 employees. Their hours of operation will be daily, so Monday through Sunday, as early as 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. I want to emphasize the quiet hours that the applicant mentioned. Quiet hours, essentially, the way they described it was they will have these blocks of time frame, so 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then 8 p.m. to, it should say 10 p.m. there. That's a typo. So essentially, they would have closed their doors and any type of opening, limit the amount of clientele that they would have, like personal training sessions. So the reason why is there's the residential neighborhood to the north of this property, so they're pretty. They want to be a good neighbor to these residents and just limit the noise from those hours. I also want to mention we did revise some of the conditions to enforce, for us to enforce in the event that something were to happen, and I will go into detail later on in the presentation. So here's a satellite view of the subject site. It's 13832 through 13836. The yellow shows the property line for the subject site. Staff did do a parking analysis for this type of use. So it's one space for every 500 square feet, which, as I mentioned, it's a little over 10,000 square feet. So 21 parking spaces are required for this use. And in total, this essentially a shopping center has 86 parking spaces provided. So they do meet the parking requirement for this type of use. And just to zoom in on the floor plan and what they envision for this, they will have a variety of machines, as you can see on the right-hand side. These are just photos of examples of these machines, ellipticals, bike machines, free weights, a couple of bench press weights, benches. They will do a substantial remodel to this if approved, which will, part of the condition is to go through the tenant improvement phase with the building division to obtain permits for that, to expand some of the bathroom areas that you see, as you see on the bottom of the floor plan, and to also incorporate a private workout rooms in that area of the building, and then the rest will be just the machines, the layout for the gym. So as you can see here on the top left corner is in 2021, that's how the H1 flooring business used to look like. They have ceased operations for quite some time. I actually went out to the site and took photos. As part of the conditions of approval, they are required to refurbish some of the building and parking lot as well. It could use some TLC, some of the signs, there's some rust on some of the stucco area, so that will be cleaned up before they start operating. So the business is located in the appropriate zone. It's adequate in size and sufficient parking will be provided. And as I mentioned, the conditions of approval for the building and sign maintenance, there is a condition to install bicycle rack on the business, and they will work with staff to determine that. And then the parking lot maintenance, just ensuring that there's free from any debris, any cracks, any sort of maintenance that's required. And so I do want to focus on the revised conditions of approval. You may have in front of you a revised set of the resolution, and the two conditions that we revise essentially is number 19 and number 30. I'll start with number 19. There was a typo on the hours of operation. Originally it said 7 a.m., but they want to open it up a little bit later, so we revised that. And I'll read for the record here is, the business hours shall be limited to 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Quiet hours at a minimum shall be 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. All doors and gates to the facility shall be closed to minimize any projection of music. And then number 30, we just added the condition or the wording of noise shall comply with the Chapter 9.12 of the Paramount Municipal Code for any noise regulations that this business could potentially emit, and any outdoor speakers or other exterior audible devices are prohibited. And with that, staff is recommended to read by title only, waive further reading, and adopt resolution number PC 25011, approving conditional use permit number 979, subject to the revised conditions of approval in the resolution. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ivan. Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I have a question.
Mr. Arias, can you clarify number 19, the revisions? It says business hours from 5 to 10, and then the quiet hours as from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. So, but they're open from 5 to 10 p.m.
Yeah. So what the applicant has stated that those blocks of hours, the early morning hours and the later evening hours, they will have a limited, they would have all the doors and gates closed so that the workouts they minimize the noise. Furthermore, they also emphasize that they would have a limited clientele with that, anywhere from 5 to 8 personal training sessions, so clients during those times. And again, it's to emphasize that the reduction of noise with the neighboring, if I want to zoom in here on the site plan here, to the north of that, it's residents, and to the east, so they just want to be good neighbors and limit any type of noise complaint. They're being proactive with this now that they're relocating to this new location.
Any other questions?
Looks pretty good.
I have a question, maybe just a clarification for myself.
Sure.
Can you explain to me exactly what does it mean, a free gym? That just means open and, what does that mean?
Yeah, free use gym. So as you know, any, for example, like Planet Fitness, 24-hour fitness, where just the machines are all laid out for free use. So not necessarily tied to a personal training session that you would need. You can just freely just occupy any type of machine that's available for people. So that's the concept of the free use gym, that you can just walk anywhere at your own pace, rather than having a personal trainer, kind of chaperoning you around for the machines.
But there is a membership.
Yes, they do offer memberships. Yes, they do offer memberships.
Membership.
That was my question, too.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was free for anybody to come in and
Mhm.
use it.
It's not free.
Yeah, it will be required for
Yeah,
gym membership. Yeah, for this.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
gonna be free. let me
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll have a problem.
Yeah, no. Okay, let's open the public hearing then, portion of this agenda item. Have we got any testimony tonight for this one, John?
No submitted comments
Okay, no
Have
comments.
or no request to speak.
Okay, no request to speak. All right, then let's have a motion then to close the public hearing portion.
Esparza will make a motion to close it.
Solid second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody, Vice Chair Timmons,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay, then let's consider a motion then to adopt Planning Commission Resolution 25011, approving this request to operate the gym there on Paramount Boulevard.
Gonzalez move to adopt.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza?
Yes,
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Moody? Vice Chair Timmons?
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger?
Yes.
we get a new gym in Paramount.
All right, let's move to agenda item number 4. This is a unclassified use permit, number 24-01. This is a request by ECDC Environmental LC to operate for the operation of Southern California Trans Rail for loading sealed bins
That's what it was all about.
containing Resource Conservation and Recovery Act and non-RCA waste into rail flat cars at 7727 Jackson Street in the heavy manufacturing zone. This project is a Class 1 exemption for existing facilities, and it's pursuant to Article 19, Section 15301 of the California Environmental Quality Act, otherwise known as the CEQA guidelines. So we have a staff report for this one?
We do, and I'll be handling this one. This one is kind of a long time coming. It's been in the works. We'll kind of walk through the history, but over a year, well over a year, and it's bringing a little bit. It sets a few goals. So it has to do with a business that's operating within the rail property, the Union Pacific Rail. They lease. It's basically Republic Services, which is a nationwide, and I think international trash haul. They do all things trash and recycling. So they have a number of affiliates, and the applicant is one of their affiliates, ECDC. So what they're here for this evening is they applied for a business license, and upon review, we look like we need a little more information, environmental analysis, to feel a little more comfortable. And out of transparency, they're highly regulated, lots of agencies involved. So we did kind of a deep dive into what they do, how who's watching them, and how can we do better. Being what they are, there's some limited regulation on the city side. It's more on the state and federal, but we're going to be proposing what we can in terms of conditions. So the request from ECDC is operating Southern California Trans Rail for loading sealed bins containing RCRA, and it's commonly pronounced RCRA. That's Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, and non-RCRA waste onto rail flat cars. So that's a very particular set of waste, basically hazardous waste, that that's established by federal law and regulated by the state as well. 2023, another affiliate of Republic Services called Consolidated Disposal Service, LLC, they turned in a business license application with the description, waste materials transfer bin to rail. Pretty simple there, and the fire department actually gave their blessing, so they got the okay with the fire department's review of the business license. But on the staff side, we took a closer look, and upon understanding that what they're doing is hauling soil and other really contaminated and hazardous material from the World Energy Conversion site. You can imagine, from a refinery that's for decades has been a petroleum-based refinery, and then now switching to the cleaner materials that we're happy to see. There's been decades of the process. We're not quite sure what's in the soil, so out of an abundance of caution, I guess there has been some soil testing. In their project, the soil gets moved out, so it has to go somewhere and has to be removed somewhere else and taken somewhere else. So that's where this site comes into play, along with their other legacy operations. So the planning department staff soon determined that further study and permitting was necessary to make sure all's in order and to feel a little more comfortable. So a little over a year ago, Republic Services turned in an unclassified use permit application under ECDC. Just to speak briefly on unclassified use permit application. So we don't see too many of those. You don't review too many. They are, so they're very similar to conditional use permits. CUPs are focused on a particular property, like a CUP for a restaurant or a CUP for outdoor storage, different types of uses that the code requires. Well, unclassified use permit, we turn to those types of approvals for very unique categories, types, businesses and uses that almost defy categorization, or they're special. So I'll give you some examples. The one that you most recently reviewed was the wireless facility, the wireless telecommunications facility on a electrical tower. They applied it there. So it's a little different, and our code has a clear establishment for that. Some other ones that and sometimes they straddle zones. So an example would be a plant nursery that the Planning Commission reviewed and approved a few years ago called Plantasia over by Stater Brothers. So that extended from Alondra Boulevard and then south to the city border with Long Beach. So those are multiple zones, multiple things going on. That's why we turn to the unclassified use permit section. There are some categories in there that are very specific, but this particular use, although it's kind of a cousin to one of the listed uses, it's its own. It has to do with this area, walking distance that way behind Marucan Vinegar, if you know where that is on Vermont Avenue, and the extension of the transportation of the material that they're taking there and off by rail. That's my little extra summary there. So staff determined that the application was incomplete from that January submittal until a further environmental analysis under CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act, accompanied the application. And we do that with all discretionary permits to try to figure out how is it a project, and then if it is a project, how it's reviewed. So then in July, Republic submitted a revised application. They had some changes to their internal staffing, so they updated to match what was going on in their world. And we knew we needed an expert for it's a very unique type of business. So we contracted with a specialized planning firm that does these types of environmental analyses. So in October, the council approved an agreement with EPD Solutions to complete the analysis under CEQA. And we have a representative from EPD Solutions this evening if you have any more technical questions that they can help with. Some photos. So at the top, that's a view looking from Monroe, looking west to the entrance. So if we pan back, if I had a panning back way to do that, to the left would be Marucan Vinegar, their main office facility. On the right is also Marucan Vinegar. The middle is the public street until you get to the magic mouse. So you have the gate. So beyond the gate is the Union Pacific property, the Port of Long Beach, Port of Los Angeles, and Union Pacific. And the lease area, once you turn left, this is what you see. So you can kind of get a look at the rail cars, some of the equipment that helps them load and unload. And it's important to also look at the surface. It is a little chunky. There are some potholes, and it's seen some wear. There's an old, I'm saying old, that's kind of broad, but it's been around for many years, for decades. That's the office that serves their operations in this area. So that is an office that they work out of. And then in the process of the operations, sealed bins carrying this material is transported. That goes there is transported off to landfills that they own, that Republic owns, or as ECDC owns. They're in Utah and Idaho. So from what I'm hearing, there really is not a facility of that type in California. So off it goes to out of state, has to go somewhere. The site, so EPD Solutions, they did some great research with a partner, Rue is the name of that company, and they dug through old records, and they found out that the site's historically been used for industrial purposes since at least the 1950s. initially as a railroad car storage yard, and then eventually getting into this type of transport. ECDC in particular has leased the site from Union Pacific since 2002. I think this is important because we'll get to some public comments, but we want to sort of just have a discussion on how we get the word out for these type of applications. As you know, we post on the website, we post on the city facilities, City Hall and other facilities. We get the word out directly. And that's really important. So mailers, we send out public mailers. Oh, I forgot the newspaper. We publish in the newspaper of record here. So what you're seeing here in the middle is the project area, and extends north and south of Jackson and off Monroe. So our code municipal code calls for a 500-foot radius. So 500 feet within, we send out public hearing notices to property owners and tenants. Before you is the site plan. On the left side is north, so it's kind of different orientation for the previous slide, just because of the way it's laid out here. Trucks will come in off of Jackson. So we come down off of, so to the left would be Alondra Boulevard. Come down Vermont Avenue, turn onto Jackson, and into their lease area within the blue dash line, their little territory there. So that's where they are. And they also provided their truck route. So we asked, well, how do you get there from different facilities? I mentioned Altair World Energy. They also take in from other businesses, but you'll see they come in off of Alondra. They might come in off the freeway, the 710 freeway. There's also Lakewood Boulevard. So you have the Lakewood Boulevard, and it says here starting point at World Energy. So for that particular project, they'll bring themselves. Well, they'll transport it onto Lakewood Boulevard and south onto Alondra, and then onto the that area. And you can see Garfield and Cherry and Garfield. So in kind of breaking it down, the project, and this gets into the analysis from our consultant EPD Solutions. The project would not result in land use changes. It's what's called by definition an exempt hazardous waste transfer facility, and under that provision, they're not allowed to tamper with the bins. It's supposed to remain sealed, but they are allowed to keep them for 6 to 10 days. So basically up to 10 days at this location, and then beyond that, it has to move out. So definitely sealed. The project's consistent with existing land use requirements. We have conditions of approval involved. In EPD Solutions, they conducted their analysis. They determined this is a Class 1 categorical exemption. Does not involve expansion of the site, structures, or the services. It would not result in construction or operational changes, and the facility would continue to operate in the same manner it has been. So, a lot of ways, this is a grandfather use. It's happened for many years, and it will continue. And the city has limited authority to just say stop, or to make or break them. This is, and just to get into some of the conditions, so give me one moment. We added some conditions, so before you, we have the updated conditions. So we think as we say, we try to do a good job, and we always try to do better. So we did better today by adding some more. Asphalt and others, so I should point to number 33, dust control. The applicant shall implement best available dust control measures, BACM, during active operations capable of generating fugitive dust in accordance with Rule 403 of the South Coast Air Quality Management District, AQMD, and if necessary, due to the failure of BACM, which is the best available dust control measures, to mitigate dust, they should pave portions of the work site. The applicant shall ensure that dust, dirt, and soil from the work site are not dragged and/or deposited on city streets or other city infrastructure. So that was changed. That was an improved condition. And then the added conditions are 34 to 38. And I think I'll read each one of those. And I apologize for not having a slide for this. 34, asphalt and other surface repair. The asphalt in the subject operating area in disrepair shall be repaired and/or repaved as needed and maintained in good condition. All potholes shall be filled/repaired as needed. All other surfaces shall be repaired as needed and maintained in good condition. Repair shall be completed by June 2, 2025. Let's give them some time. Tire shakers, and what's a tire shaker? We'll go to the photo. Unfortunately, it's a little hard to see, but that's a little kind of a grill type of material that helps get the dust off as the trucks approach. The existing tire shakers shall be replaced with enhanced tire shakers to remove loose dirt from truck wheels upon exiting the subject property and entering the city street. The replacement tire shakers shall be installed by June 2, 2025. The next involves the street sweeper. So Republic Services and ECDC, they presently already contract with a sweeping company. So, but we did want to add more to have this condition so it's official and on the record. Street sweeping shall be continued to clean any wayward dust, dirt, and debris on Monroe Street and Vermont Avenue generated from the business use. Any street sweeper hired or contracted by the applicant or successor tenant to clean city streets or other city infrastructure shall obtain an encroachment permit from the Public Works Department within 10 business days of the approval of the unclassified use permit. So we want to make sure that there's just an extra level. So we'll have the classified use permit and the encroachment permit. Encroachment permit is typical for a business use of public property. Even like a restaurant that has an awning or has a little table and a extra wide sidewalk, that's an encroachment permit. The next is gate. And this involves the top photo, the gate here. The swing gate separating Monroe Street from the subject private property shall be replaced with a secure fence to prevent unauthorized access following separate planning department review and approval of the fence material and precise location. The gate shall be installed by June 2, 2025. And the final added one in this is number 38, illegal dumping. A program or policy shall be implemented to promptly remove materials or liquid debris dumped illegally in the subject lease area. That may not be, well, we want to include this. We're recommending the inclusion of this provision, but hopefully by having a new gate to keep out, folks will do some of the work that's intended to prevent illegal dumping. It is a problem. Folks go in there and drop off their tires or construction debris or who knows what.
Right.
Kind of a little error. We ended up underlining a condition that was there before about final approval. We are actually like to introduce an additional condition that's not here, and that is about hours of operation. If we could restrict the hours of right now they're applying. I don't think they operate 24 hours. They're fairly traditional business hours, maybe a little earlier in the morning. But we're suggesting a condition for your consideration, restricting hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if you want to consider that.
7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Right. In their application, they mentioned 24/7 operation.
24, yeah.
And jumping ahead to the final. So with that, we recommend approval with the changes mentioned. So read by title only, waive further reading, adopt resolution number PC 24013, approving unclassified use permit number 2401, subject to the conditions of approval, including the added conditions of approval and modified conditions of approval. And happy to answer any questions. And Connie from EPD is here as well.
Okay, we have a question.
I do. I think I just need clarification, actually. The bins that are loaded from whatever facility they start from, if it starts from the air quality, no, the World Energy, they're sealed, and then when they get to the location, they can sit there. Did I hear you say that?
They're allowed to, and that's above higher authority, you could say. And I believe the reason is operational to allow for time to have a certain amount before it's loaded onto a rail car and sent off.
So they're monitored where we start from. So if they're being loaded at one facility, which is Altair, World Energy, they're being monitored from there and then transported and monitored at the location when they're dropped off.
Well, there's not. They're monitored internally. We do have some basis for reviewing the operations, and we have building inspectors that go out for inspections. But more so, they fall under the provisions of the state, the DTSC, the Department of Toxic Substances Control.
And then I have one more question. When we're talking about dust control in that area, it's always blowing. Like today, it's been blowing dust. So those things that they use, I forget what they call those water trucks. How often will they do that? Because it's like gravel and dust. It's just gonna.
That's a good point, and they're supposed to be doing that under AQMD rules. I got a little tip that AQMD was called out today about dust. So we encourage anyone. Actually, we're told as staff when there's issues, smells in the air or anything, we do call in those concerns. But for now, the condition is reiterating to them what they should already be doing: implement best available dust control measures. And with this, since this is now an open conversation, it'd be it's something that they should be doing. And if not, then we will move on to the requirement to do some more paving.
Yeah. Okay.
May I ask a question?
Yes, please.
A follow-up question. So the cars that sit there, who monitors the length of time that they sit on their lot? Is that internal, or is there an external agency that monitors that or enforces that?
Well, they did receive a notice of violation. There's an occurrence where they were an inspector did issue a notice of violation. I understand it was rescinded, and I'm not quite clear on the rescinding process, but there are inspectors that are available to go out.
And my second question is, so you mentioned the grandfathered in, so what happens if this unclassified use permit is not passed, that they get to continue to operate as is?
Well, then we don't have these conditions. So you're right. In a way, they would be able to continue. They would be operating without a business license, which is a violation. But that would be the city's position is, although we have limited authority, it would be an improvement to approve this, to have the more of a basis, more transparency, but more of a basis to to review their conditions and possibly have to take action.
And I'll just add, essentially, this operation is under the authority of the Department of Toxic Substances Control, a state agency. It's a federal operation because of the railways, and then AQMD if there's air quality issues. So they're the ones, if there is ongoing issues with something like they're housing things there for more than 10 days, or they're not following all of the requirements for them to be the type of station that they are, that's where that complaint would go to. So what we're doing in bringing this up is really saying, all we can do is really control what happens outside of their operation that's not under our jurisdiction. So by that, we're bringing this to introduce something to address complaints and concerns that we've had as far as dust and other things that we can control to the best of our ability. But the things like you brought up would be the state or federal that actually inspect exactly what they're doing and making sure they're following those guidelines.
I think staff should be commended because if you're taking an extra step to make sure our air quality is good, I think that's
Right.
commended.
I
That's
would-
special.
I would also entertain the limited hours of operation.
I think that's special, yes.
The limit
So
of.
thank you. I appreciate it.
It's helpful. It's a team effort, and the two things goes out to the community. I mean, we're getting a lot of input from the community, so it is very community driven, and we respect that.
I have a question. I have a question. From the site on the trucks, right, that they're coming in, how many containers come in that truck? And they're sealed, and they're tarped, right?
There are, and I don't recall that there's a limit. Connie, do you remember? There really is no limit, is there?
There's no limit?
So there's the transportation limit, but as far as how many can stack inside of there, that falls in. So it's helps them for their operations to kind of move things out as quickly as possible.
Right.
So that's, it just kind of helps itself. It kind of self-fulfills to move it out and not have too
But they're
much.
going through
It
the street.
polices
You see
itself,
that
pretty
going-
much.
That's what I'm saying.
If I may, these containers, they don't have tarps. I mean, they're actually sealed.
Sealed, right, they're sealed,
sealed.
but as you can see, they look like a tarp, you see? You can see on the picture. I know what they are, yeah. With the environment.
David?
Put a sliding top on it, usually,
Right. They have,
then they put a tarp on top of it.
So they load from the top.
yeah, they go from the top. They sealed it.
So that means that there's no way to open those things, huh?
Well, there's a way, but I don't see who would. Yep.
Okay, because I'm noticing one of these additional documents we had, there was some concern about monitored security, to make sure that, I wasn't sure what these, exactly what that meant. But
Oh, that's a good point. Well, there is Union Pacific. They have their own police. It's pretty unique. It goes back to Abraham Lincoln times, I guess. But they have their own police that does patrol.
Especially in that area, you see? How long will they sit there? That's the problem. That's what I say, because the way in that area, they might get on top of the, because they sit there, I've seen them rarely.
There are prohibitions against parking in residential areas. So that's a condition. We reiterated that as a condition, but that's law.
Sometimes I've seen them all the way to a laundra, up the way up in the rail.
So,
The
John,
cars.
if we have cases of theft or vandalism or graffiti, or maybe some encampments there, that would fall on the railroad people or the state people that come and monitor that?
It's a little complicated. It's maybe cross-jurisdictional. The answer is yes, but it could. We would research exactly which property it is, where is it happening. There's actually, Maricon Vinegar. They have some other property. There's a company called, well, it's not there anymore, Liquid Packaging, that's about to get leased out. So there's questions on property lines and jurisdiction. But yeah, so we would find out who it is.
Okay. Any other questions from our group here?
I did neglect to say that we do have the Assistant Public Safety Director here, Eric Wasik. So if you have any enforcement-related questions, he really is the expert, and he's highly knowledgeable about this property and code enforcement action.
Get him out of here.
Do we have any more questions here? All right, let's open the public hearing portion then for this agenda item. We have any comments?
Yes, we do. Written comments. Forgive my organization. So we do have three written comments, written correspondence, two in opposition, one kind of middle of the road. a business owner who is representing a business who is okay with proper conditions. We could say, so I'll give you the names. So the first is Mike Radis in opposition, and that's the correspondence has been provided to you. You have it before you. The second is from Lori Gillen in opposition.
Lori?
And the call it middle of the road is from John Tankledge, President, Chief Operating Officer, Maruchan Vinegar USA. And with proper conditions and measures, sounds like he is okay with approval.
Okay, very good. And that's it?
And that is it.
Okay, then we need a motion then to close the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. If
Sorry.
we don't have a speaker card, but at your consideration.
Okay, sure, go ahead, ma'am. You gotta press that white button. There you go. Yeah, uh-huh.
Hello, first time coming to one of these meetings, but I hear that about the smell. At night, I have a CPAP machine at night, and I love my windows open, but you can't have them open because of the air, and it's a foul odor between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And the air, the dust, and all that. And is it going, I mean, what is it doing to my health? Is it toxic, or what's going on?
Would you like to provide a name?
Cancer causing or anything like that? Excuse me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like to provide your name to the commission?
Oh, my name is Beverly Brooks, and I live in the senior building over here on Vermont and Jackson.
You live on Vermont and Jackson.
And it must have just really started happening because the smell is really strong about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning for the last 3 months. It's been that way. And it comes through the vents. I even had my gas cut off because I thought it was coming from the gas. And then I had my manager check my air conditioner because, you know, it's in the wall where it comes from outside, and the smell comes through there. And I have no air. So I bought 2 air purifiers, but I don't know what it's doing to my lungs.
You know, this project hasn't started yet. So we're looking at the approval process right now. So I would imagine whatever you're smelling is not from this. Because it hasn't started yet. This project hasn't started.
No,
They're seeking approval to get it started.
Get it started as far as what? The condition or what's
Well-
going on, or they're getting ready to do something about it?
No, we're not talking about, I'm not talking about what you just explained, the odors that you're concerned with. If you were here for the beginning of this discussion, for this agenda item number 4, there is a company that's proposing working conditions and to start up their business on the railroad tracks, but it hasn't started yet. So if you're implying that that's where that smell is coming from, the railroad tracks, that's connected with this particular agenda item, I don't think that's the case because this hasn't started yet.
No,
Mr. If I can interject,
asking.
my apologies if I take responsibility if I was unclear, but it actually is an ongoing, it is a present use, so it's bringing it into just having a permit for it on the city side.
I see.
Yeah, so my apologies. I would like to point out, we do have a condition of approval, number 27, operational operations. All operations conducted on the premises shall not be objectionable by reason of noise, steam, vibration, odor, or hazard. So they are required to to keep all, to have no odor reach you. Yeah, that should not be happening. Right. So we would also recommend if there's any odor, it's very helpful to contact the agency that that reviews this, that regulates odors, and that's the South Coast Air Quality Management District. And actually, if you want to talk to Sol in the back, she can get you the information, their contact information. Sol Bejarano. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other comments? Anybody else want to speak?
Oh, one question. There was a notice that our director of security for Security Paramount, that they would make, I like that's the day check back there. Did they check that out?
Here comes some.
And so public safety does have limited code enforcement action taken in and around that area for private property. And then we talked earlier about law enforcement. Sheriffs do support the state law enforcement agencies and will patrol for like homeless and other kind of aspects. But code enforcement is the wing of public safety that does investigate and check that area for different violations, yes.
Thank you.
So John, just so I'm clear, this has been going on then for some time. They're just asking for a permit now?
Yes, and kind of the history, I'm going to kind of flip back here. And I didn't have this directly in the presentation, but to give a little more background, 2023, that's when the city received complaints about trucks bringing dust and dirt from the right-of-way onto the city streets. So that's how this all originated. So a notice of violation from code enforcement was sent out to correct the issue. And that, from there, that went, we figured out, well, they don't even have a business license. So any business operating in town is required to have a business license. So that, one thing led to another, and that's where we are. That's how we ended up where we are now.
Okay.
I would add that this would be an improvement.
Yes.
They're operating either way.
Yeah.
Actually, its conditions will help.
Mm-hmm.
At least they're being monitored
Yes.
a little more than they
Regulate, yeah.
have been.
Do we have any idea how long these toxic things have been coming through our town and being shipped out from this location?
It's a little unclear, but it's before 2002, and I think maybe, Connie, do you remember that date? Is that a clear date? I remember it's a little fuzzy. 2002 at least.
Okay. So that's way before World Energy started doing any of that stuff.
That's right.
World.
So before it was mainly outside stuff, people from, materials from other communities.
Right, and I wouldn't say nothing from Paramount, might have been some from other companies. We've seen a copy of a manifest, but they redacted the business name. Very well could have been somebody from Paramount.
Now, you may not know the answer to this question, John, but when a place like World Energy ships out a bunch of soil that, could be contaminated, do they bring in new soil? Is that what they do?
They do. Oftentimes they do. They need to. And it's actually common. Just back, and I don't mean to drift too far, but as you know, we're putting together the plan for the Clearwater specific plan area. That will include provisions for how much topsoil to be removed, because there will be some development near the rail line on that part of town.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, any other questions here? Okay, so we've closed the public hearing, and I guess we're ready to consider a motion then. So, if anyone would like to make a motion to adopt this Planning Commission Resolution 25013.
Excuse me,
You need a
sorry.
motion
Did you
to-
want to vote to close the?
Oh, okay, okay, let's take let's make a motion to close the public hearing. Okay, thank you.
Gonzalez moves to close.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Moody? Vice Chair Timmons?
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger?
Yes. Okay, now we can consider a motion then to approve this PC 25013, approving this request with the changes that are outlined in this additional document.
I'm sorry, would you like to include the hours of operation?
And the hours of operation, yes, yes. And that was from 8 a.m. until
To operate from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. would be the window.
7 a to 8 p.
7 a.m. to what? 8?
Yeah, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Gonzalez moves to adopt PC 25013. Would be an added condition.
Okay, we have a second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded then. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sparza,
Yes?
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody, Vice Chair Timmons,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. All right.
Be okay.
Agenda item number 5. This is a zone change, number 250, and this is a recommendation to the City Council of the City of Paramount to change the official zoning map from R1, which is single-family residential, to M2, the heavy manufacturing, on the vacant land north of 13900 Orange Avenue, identified as APN, well, all those numbers there. This project is exempt from the CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines, section 15061B3, which is the general rule that CEQA applies only to projects which have a potential for causing a significant effect on the environment. Okay, so here we're just changing the zoning for vacant land. Huh?
That's it.
Okay. Do we have any report on that?
We do, and I'll be handling this one. This one is a recommendation for the city, go on to the city council upon your approval to approve the zone change, to change the area from R1, single-family residential, to M2. And as we mentioned, it's a vacant area. It's up at the end of Orange Avenue, the area south of the Century Freeway, which is the Orange Industrial Park. So that area used to be, long ago, until 1958, where the Pacific Electric Railway was. So there's no train. There's actually some tracks that are still there, but it's been vacant ever since. And you can't really develop it. It's metro land. And then a reminder about how zone changes work. They go along with state law and the municipal code. So that's the area. Oh, let's go back. You can kind of see the tracks that are still there from way back when. So to the, let me get this straight. Yeah, to the right is is Orange Avenue. There's a little gate there, and so what you're looking at is, in the background is Athens, their facility. And there's the California Estates Mobile Home Park. And is Eric still here? There's a little bit of graffiti there that it kind of comes and goes.
Oh, yeah. What a bit.
Public Safety Director, Assistant Director, he's aware of all the hot spots in town. So it's zoned for housing, but it's really impractical. Housing is not going to happen. So what's going on is, just before I get into the maps, the city is seriously considering a proposal from Metro to install one of those digital billboards. It's not quite ripe. It's kind of the sneak preview, but you cannot install a billboard like that on a residentially zoned property. You can only do it on a commercial or industrially zoned property or something like that. So we're kind of setting the stage but don't want to get ahead of ourselves. It has to be the right design, the right provisions for content, and just make sense, not be too bright and on and on. So as you know, we have to have consistency with the general plan. The changes in the purple area, which represents the general plan area of railroad right-of-way. So that fits, changing to manufacturing. So the existing land use, this is just showing what's going on now. So in the light blue, that's industrial. That's the industrial park. The yellow is the mobile home park, the California Estates. The green is the vacant area. And and then the freeway to the north. So now what do we want to do with zoning? So the zoning, the yellow is housing. It's that R1 zone, and we think it would make sense to extend the existing M2 zone northward. And nothing to fear. There's really no way to develop. There's no warehouse that's going to pop up there or anything like that. We're only thinking possibly a digital billboard down the road. And come to think of it, the Public Works Department, they're envisioning an extended bike path there, so that would connect to the LA River bike path. So maybe in the future you'll see a bike path and a billboard. So that's really it. We're recommending the adopt resolution number PC 2512, recommending to the City Council that they approve the zone change, changing the zoning map from R1 on the vacant land north of 13900 Orange Avenue, identified as APN 6236003-901 and 6236003-902. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I have questions tonight. Is this not the same location we were talking about sometime before of doing a billboard in that area?
It's actually not. So what you're referring to is off of the 710 freeway, 710 visibility, just north of Rosecrans.
Okay.
It's on the
It's
other.
another.
What type of billboard would we put at this location? Just a standard?
Digital. So it would be digital, and it would be extra tall. So that's kind of the engineering thing. That's what I meant. Like, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but just kind of made sense right now, because the applicant is called, well, I shouldn't say applicant. There's no application, but the folks that we're kind of talking with that are working with Metro, they're thinking of a billboard that can be visible from the interchange from the 710 to the 105, which might be the tallest point in town.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really high if there's the engineering and money to do it.
I can tell you something needs to be done because that area is a real nuisance. So
Yes.
thank you.
I like the idea of a bike path. That would be nice. Something that would be maintained,
That's true. Sometimes there's horses that go through there, so
and that too.
it'd be I shouldn't say bike path. A multi-use path is the term. Multi-use.
Put a horse path through there.
So, John, there's no way that anybody could ever live in that area, huh?
No, there's
Couldn't
really
be
not.
developed. It's like,
No, it's safety, the plans for the park. Actually, at one point, Paul was just talking about a bike park, like a hub where you could have a little fix-it station and get your water before you bike on. I'm not sure how far we are with that, but yeah, even with that, it just wouldn't make sense. It's not feasible.
yeah. And you said that also that you don't think any warehouses would ever want that area then either, too, huh?
Right. I guess so. Now you can imagine if Metro wants to sell off land and do something like that, but it's really not. We haven't heard of those kinds of proposals right now. And then it's right next to the DWP lines. It'd probably be too close to the towers. I don't see that working either.
Good, yeah. Makes sense. Okay, any other questions here? All right, let's open the public hearing portion for this agenda item. Have we got any comments here or testimony?
No, we don't.
Nope. Okay, well then we need a motion to close the public hearing.
Gonzalez moves to close. Zone change number 250.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to close. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sparza?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Moody?
Yes.
Vice Chair Timmons?
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger?
Yes. Okay, then let's think about a motion then to adopt this Planning Commission Resolution 25013 to recommend to the City Council that we have this change in zoning from R1 to M2 on that vacant land north of Orange Avenue.
Timmons so moved.
Gonzalez second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Commissioner Sparza?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Moody? Vice Chair Timmons?
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger?
Yes. Okay. Agenda item number 6, oral reports. City Council actions?
City Council, well, yes, yesterday we had a follow-up to your joint meeting. I love I don't know what it is about me, but I love those joint meetings between the City Council and the Planning Commission. I like when everyone's in the same room.
Yeah.
So as a follow-up to that, you remember that the council, they opted to have a standalone meeting. So we made some more progress with the decisions about the setbacks, not quite the density. You'll remember that Modern Development, the Bianchi family's main company, is looking for a number of changes. They're looking for more density, higher, more stories to the housing. They're looking for less parking requirements, less minimum parking. They're looking for smaller minimum sizes for the housing units. They're looking for less open space per unit. And they're looking for a reduction in the required setbacks. So all in all, we went through the list with the council, and most of those categories we came to a conclusion. The big question is, there's like a plan A and a plan B and a C, which one to go with? The one that the city started off with going in, or to have the preferred version that Modern Development would like to see. So that remains to be seen. We may have a meeting on the 10th, or next Thursday is the goal. Has yet to be confirmed for sure. That concludes the actions.
Thank you. All right,
Ready?
agenda item number 7, comments. Any comments from our city attorney? Okay. How about commissioners?
No
No.
comments.
No comments, okay.
Other
anything?
than we enjoyed the meeting with
Yeah,
city council.
I thought that was a good meeting too.
Very
Good meeting,
informative.
yeah. And go home thinking that.
You haven't yet.
Any comments from our staff?
Maybe just a quick little bit of news. A business called It's Boba Time. If you're interested in boba drinks, remember you reviewed the conditional use permit for it. They're close to opening. They were supposed to open yesterday, but I heard April Fools. So they said by the end of this week, they'll be doing a soft opening and then onto a official ribbon cutting in May, I think May 22nd, if I remember right.
Which one is that?
So that's,
It's boba time.
it's Boba Time. Get your drinks.
Never tried it if you haven't.
Yeah, so good, so good.
Another little update, the Sprouts project, it's almost, the demolition is almost done. There's one little pesky building still left. There's still a lease for Sprouts and Panera Bread and the 2 other tenants. No official lease yet, but apparently getting close.
It's been a slow process demolishing that.
There's been a few things. The latest was bones. They found bones on the site, a little dig, but guess what? It was cattle or pig or hog. So
Animal. And then-
animal.
Oh, my God.
That shows how long it's been that,
Telling.
that area has been there. It's been a long time. Yes.
But we don't have the
So
third
they had
store
cows in
yet.
that section. There used to be a dairy there years ago. So that goes to show how long that's been.
Love the history.
Yeah.
And a Panera Bread.
Okay.
So John, the 2 existing that we know are going to be there is the coffee shop and the Panera Bread?
Sprouts. The Sprouts supermarket,
Yes.
marked in the back, and the one that signed the lease is Panera Bread.
Oh, Panera Bread, okay.
And the other 2, we saw some logos, so it's not too big a secret, but they haven't officially signed the lease yet.
We have 2 that signed the lease.
Right.
I see.
They say soon.
Well,
What is the closest one, the third one that you're saying?
Third one, well, you saw the logo for, looked like Starbucks to me.
Yeah.
The other one, yeah, it's kind of gone back and forth, so I think we'll have to reveal that
Chicken fillet?
later.
Chicken fillet?
That's the one that
it's not gonna happen.
opted not
That's
to.
not gonna happen.
no,
Yeah.
no.
They got a new one of those in Bellflower going on.
They're having one? Yeah, Bellflower, Rosecrans.
Yeah.
Right across from,
Kaiser.
Is that too
yeah,
close?
right there on Kaiser, there's a chicken.
Oh.
Yeah.
It'll be the closest one that gets to
Our
Paramount.
spot would have been better.
I know, but hey, we could get an in and out here. So.
Okay, all right, well then, in that case, we're going to adjourn our meeting tonight. We'll reconvene on Wednesday, May 7 at 6 PM.
Got it. Here, buddy. You got it. Is that court enforcement? That court enforcement, is that Steve?
I'm not sure. No, I don't think so.
I'm so sorry. Board Member Gonzalez.
Here.
Board Member Timmons.
Abstain?
Board Member Weisenberger.
Here.
Vice Chair Esparza.
Here.
And Chair Moody.
Oh, I thought that was minutes.
You're here.
I'm here.
Sure.
Trying to abstain.
We're sure.
I'm
You wanna
here. You got
restate?
that, right? I'm here.
You're here. Okay, thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the Delaware Board minutes for March 3rd?
I'll make a motion. Okay, I'll second it then.
Roll call.
Board Member Gonzalez.
Yes.
Board Member Timmons.
Now I abstain.
Board Member Weisenberger.
Yes.
Vice Chair Esparza.
Yes.
Chair Moody.
Yes. Business, public hearing?
Yep, and we have had no public comments submitted.
Public hearings. New business.
So we'll have to-
Next item, number 3.
All set. So for,
Two,
Julia.
The hearing.
new business. Number 2.
Item number 3, right?
number,
Number
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll jump right in. So for this one, on Virginia Avenue, some of you might recognize there's a nice big yellow house. This is the big yellow house. They want to do a little addition, and it requires approval by the Development Review Board, just based on the code provisions that Abigail's going to go over. And Abigail's actually, yeah, the south side of town. So Abigail's actually, we've got to credit Abigail and Leslie. So Assistant Planner Leslie Corrales, she worked on the report and the presentation, and she couldn't be with us this evening, so Abigail's stepping in. So take it away.
Okay, hi. Good evening, Honorable Chair and members of the board. Today we'll be reviewing DRA number 25003 for 16623 Virginia Avenue. So this request is to construct a 731 square foot addition. The first floor would be 240 square feet and the second floor would be 491 square feet. And this property is in the R2 medium density residential zone and the lot is 16,000 square feet. The current size of the home is 1,606 square feet. And as we know, city zoning regulations mandate the submission of a development review application for home additions larger than 15% of the existing gross floor area of a building located in an R2, medium density residential, and an RM, multiple family residential zone. So here's a subject site, and on the map we can see that it's located in the southeast side of Paramount. And on the aerial view to the right, we can see that there is a single family home with a garage with Virginia Avenue to the west. And then there's also a playground in the top left corner and then a small shed next to the garage. And so here's the site plan. As you can see, there is one single family home and one garage. And the red area here is where the proposed addition will be located on the rear side of the home. And the addition's floor area will be 731 square feet, which is about 46% of the existing home's floor area. And here we have the floor plans for both the first and the second floor. On the left, we have the second floor depicting the 2 new bedrooms and the stairs. And then to the right, we see the extension of the living room and a closet. And here we have the elevations of the property with the top left image showing the rear elevation where the addition will be, and then the bottom right showing the front elevation. And some conditions that we will have include re-roofing the existing shingle to match the new lifetime presidential shingle throughout the house, adding trim around all windows, as well as wall-mounted light fixtures for every entrance. And here are some photos of the current conditions of the property. We have the front of the property to the left, and the rear of the property to the right where the addition is proposed. And then here are the design standards for this addition, including upgraded roofing material of lifetime warranty shingle, rooftop vents shall be painted to match the roofing, windows shall be finished with a decorative trim, wall-mounted light fixtures at each entrance, and property landscaping will be maintained. And so based on our analysis, this project meets R2 requirements, it's adequate in size and location for the proposed addition, and this form of construction does not foresee any public health or environmental issues. So we recommend to approve development review application number 25003, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the staff?
Any question?
Very thorough,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Public hearing? Those in favor or opposed?
Comments, there have been no comments submitted.
Questions for staff? Anyway? I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move to close it.
Yes, I'll second.
Board Member Gonzalez,
Yes.
Board Member Timmons,
Yes.
Board Member Weisenberger,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sparza,
Yes?
Chair Moody.
Motion to approve?
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the development review application number 25003?
Timmons, so moved.
Yes, I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Board Member Gonzalez,
Yes.
Board Member Timmons,
Yes.
Board Member Weisenberger,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sparza,
Yes?
Chair Moody.
Yes. Any questions from the board members or staff?
No?
I don't know why these guys ain't building the ADUs, that's a big yard.
Good size.
Probably next.
Maybe they will in the future.
The whole town.
Yeah. Okay, that's it, adjourn the meeting till May 7th, 2025 at 6 p.m.
Hey, who put that on 3:30 p.m.? Us?
That's wrong now. Can you pass that?
What?
Can you pass that?
Oh. You didn't see that?
Our meeting's not at 3:30.
Make that correction.
You didn't see that?
Right.
Come on.
6 p.m.
Okay, we will open the Paramount Economic Development Board. Can we have roll call, please?
Board Member Sparza,
Here?
Board Member Gonzalez,
Here.
Board Member Moody,
Here.
Vice Chair Weisenberger,
Here.
Chair Timmons.
Here. Approval of minutes for March 3rd, 2025, please.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Oh, okay.
May I have roll call, please?
Just want to make note, there was a change in the minutes. It's on your desk, or your at the dice.
Okay.
We missed you last time, Ms. Dr.
Thank-
Timmons, so we just updated the information to reflect Vice Chair Weisenberger leading.
As chair. Okay. So I need a motion to approve the minutes with the corrections that have been made.
Motion approved?
I'll make it. Second?
Board Member Sparza,
Yes.
Board Member Gonzalez,
Yes.
Board Member Moody, Vice Chair Weisenberger,
Yes.
Chair Timmons.
Abstain. Okay, do we have any public comments?
We have no public comments.
Thank you. Under no new business?
Yes, we do. Management analyst Sol Bejarano, she's going to tell us all about broadband in Paramount. It's really exciting news.
Thank you, John. Good evening, Chair Timmons and board members. As John mentioned, high-speed internet is coming to Paramount. Get ready.
Oh, my God.
It's going to come to Paramount, and it's also going to be coming through Paramount, so it'll pass through to other cities. The call received, and this is the Southern California gateway cities. They received a total of $103 million in grant funding. The project involves installing underground fiber optics and above-ground cabling. And in some cases, well, in most cases, it will connect 25 of the 27 cities that make part of the COG. And it's going to be bringing and offering 10 gigabytes per second, which is considered extremely fast. It's actually 10 times faster than the standard 1 gigabyte per second connection, making it capable of handling large files for uploading, downloading, and for those gamers, well, it'll help them. The project is expected to be completed by December of next year. And, of course, to get this project to fruition, collaboration is needed between the 25 COG cities. This will be excluding the cities of Avalon and Huntington Park. They opted to get their own, Huntington Park, in their case, they applied for and received their own grant funding. But the key requirements for this project to get underway includes easements, traffic plan, permitting, traffic management for community impacts. And the COG is currently working with all jurisdictions involved and aim to have a standardized right-of-way agreement to expedite construction. Monthly meetings are currently occurring with the 25 cities for project updates and continued collaboration to help streamline the process. So just for reference, the maps on the power slide, you can see it'll connect, Bellflower, Downey, Norwalk, Lakewood, surrounding cities. And the map on the right depicts the proposed west designation area. So they're breaking the project up into phases. And luckily for us, we will be part of that first phase. And a total of 4.64 miles of fiber cabling will be placed in the city. And currently, City Council and staff will work together to decide how to make best use of this new network. And some options to be considered can include allowing schools and community facilities, et cetera, to tap into this fiber optic network to allow them access to high-speed internet. Just for example, the city of Huntington Park, they are opting to start their own internet providing services to their residents. So it's
How
just
about commissioners? You get to tap in?
if the council approves it, then sure.
Oh, okay, just
Yeah.
thought I'd ask.
It won't be free to us, but it is free to the city itself to get access to it. But if we want to tap into it, then there will be a fee for the users at the end, the end users.
Free.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And that concludes my presentation. I don't know if you have any questions.
Well, thank you so much. That's a great report. I'm really happy to hear that because we need that.
Mm-hmm.
So, commissioners, I'm sorry.
I just have a question.
Yes.
How will the general public, if they choose to tap into that, is it a wireless or does it have to be a physical connection?
So typically the way it works right now, users around here in Paramount that have trouble connecting to the internet, they normally use like hotspots on their mobile phones or get wireless extenders. In this case, we could, if the city allows your internet provider, I don't know if you use, whether it be Spectrum or Verizon or AT&T, to allow access to tap into this network so that they don't rely on their network, but they'll rely on our network for a fee, of course.
Up to 10 gigs, huh?
Up to 10 gigabytes.
Excellent. That's super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as the member, I forgot his name, but from the COG, he mentioned that they're dropping off the keys to Ferrari here. We got to do what we got to do.
That's fast.
Yeah,
I want
take
to
it
name
for a
the
test drive.
company that I actually have. You said AT&T, but it's not AT&T.
No.
But anyway, I think what they're doing, there's a section, I guess all of Paramount has that in all the areas, where you can't, they advertise maybe a certain amount of gigs, but you don't get as many as they advertise.
Right.
So now maybe that will pull in that number. If they say you get 8 in your area, you actually only get 5 of that. You know, you don't get the whole 8. So maybe now that'll change.
Right.
I hope so. Yes.
Right?
Yeah, but then you get the government in your business.
Right.
You're already in your business.
I know.
Any other comments?
We'll be on the phone.
Thank you so much. That was a great
You're welcome.
report. Okay, we're down to comments. Do we have anything from our board members? Any comments? No? Staff?
Just quickly, since the applicant left, I didn't want to say it the last meeting, but this is Abigail Urquiza's first presentation, and I think she did an absolute great job.
Did.
So,
You did a great job. Great job.
good job.
Very good.
Abigail.
Very thorough. Thank you very much.
That's all I have.
Okay. All right. If we have no other business, we will adjourn this meeting until May 7th of 2025 at 6 p.m.